Hey friends, it's good to see you on September 14th. Read through the Word. It's great to be with you today. So we're kind of taking one of those deep breaths and a sigh of relief when you turn the page and you see Esther. You know what I mean? We did that with Ruth. Ruth was kind of in one of those just stuck in one of those great places where we could go, whew, from all the doom and gloom and prophecy and all of that. And that's the way the story of Esther is. It's the story of courage. It's the story of just the what do you call it? The underdog winning, that kind of thing. And it's just it's had a great place for us because we've had some hard reading here lately. And I've chosen a verse that I'm sure you've heard a message on before. And so I don't want you to go, oh, I've heard that verse before, and don't. I really, in fact, I struggled with it. I struggled with, Lord, this is a verse that we've taught on before, that preachers teach on all the time, or preach on all the time, from Esther, for such a time as this, for such a time as this. But here's the thing. As I was copying it over into the notes, the words, if you keep silent at a time like this, stuck out to me. In fact, I had titled the lesson something else, in the such a time as this times, or something like that. But as I copied them over in this verse over into the notes, I was like, how did I not ever notice those great words, if you keep silent at a time like this? Because doesn't that put a whole different, I don't want to call it spin, because it's not a spin. We're not spinning the story, but gives us a different look, a different angle. Let's use that word, a different angle of the text. What if Esther had chosen to be silent in her such a time as this moment? How different would things have been? Oh, very, very different. And it got me thinking, what if I am silent during a time of such a time as this for me? When God has given me a clear assignment or a clear message, excuse me, girls, I need to get some water. Girls and boys. Goodness. What if we're silent when we're given an assignment? Esther was scared. Obviously, she had people praying with her and fasting for her, and Mordecai was there with her, and took her orders, did everything she asked him to do. She sought the Lord. But even after she did all that, what if she just decided, no, you know what? I'm not doing it. I'm not getting involved. When we have these invitations from the Lord, I call them such a time as this invitations. And they're invitations. They're assignments, yes, for us. But I like to think of it as an invitation. God is inviting us to be part of a really, well, we think it's big. We think our assignments are big. But it's really a small part in the big narrative of the story that God is writing. But it's big to us. It's an assignment for us. But He's inviting us. Let's just get this. The creator of the universe, the creator and author and perfecter of our faith, the keeper of time, He's inviting us into the narrative of the story. It may be for a large group, such as this, It may be for a small group. It may be for one person, for the person who's waiting on your table. Maybe you're supposed to be part of her story or his story. The person at the bank, the person at the ball field, the person at the dance studio. Every assignment, every invitation is part of the greater narrative. Everyone. So we can refuse to accept the invitation. And if we do, and I've done it, I've done it. Maybe I'm the only one, but I've done it because I was scared. Lots of reasons to be scared. Scared I didn't know the answer. I didn't know the next step. I didn't know the person. I didn't know what to say. I felt ill-equipped because I didn't have a certain degree, or I didn't speak a certain language. Culturally, it was a different thing. There's all kinds of reasons to not accept the invitation. None of them are good. None of them are justified. Because refusing an invitation is just refusal to obey. But we're not going to talk about obedience today. So we can refuse or we can accept. When we refuse, we miss out on being part of this great story that God is writing. But when we accept, we're participating in the great story that God is providing. So what we need to do is when we accept the invitation, we cannot be silent. We can't sit on our hands. We have to act. Now what Esther did, if you'll notice down in chapter 4, she got people together. She had Mordecai get people together to fast for her. They didn't drink and eat for 3 days and nights. The maids did the same. She was decided to go see the king, even though it was against the law. So she did all this to confirm the invitation. That's one of the biggest things that we as Christians, one of the biggest thing is not the right word. That's a lazy word. One of the biggest struggles that we as Christians have is determining whether or not it's God's voice or our voice. Is it what God longs for, or is it what we're longing for? So I'm not going to say, just run with it. I'm not, because it is a wise thing to confirm it, and it's a wise thing to seek the Lord's direction and making sure, okay, I think this is what you're saying. I feel confident this is what you're saying, but I need you to confirm it. Look at what Gideon did. He threw the fleece out. He brought the fleece in. I mean, it's throwing the fleece out, basically. If you're unfamiliar with what that is, go look up Gideon's story and in Judges and read Gideon's story and what he did. There is nothing wrong with confirming the invitation. Now, and here's the thing. I want to be really careful about that. Confirming an invitation is not disobedience if our heart is right. If we're sitting back in our mind going, yeah, I'm just going to sit back and wait for God to confirm, and we go about our business, that's just disobedience. We're just playing games with God. But if we're really seeking God and we're really making sure we're doing what He wants us to do, He knows it. He knows our heart, and it's not disobedience. God, I want to do this. I'm scared to do this. I don't know how I'm going to do this. I don't have the resources or the skill set to do this, but I feel like you're calling me to do this. Will you confirm this with me? Confirm it through the word, confirm it through a friend, a message. However, write it in the sky, send me a text message, send me a meme on Facebook, however you want to do it, confirm it to me. And when we seek Him with that heart for that confirmation, He gives it to us. Now, how do we know whether it's for sure it's for him or not, and it's not coincidence? Well, that just comes to knowing our God. That just comes to recognizing his voice. And the only way to do that, I know you know what the answer to this is. The only way to know it's God's voice is to have spent time with God and know him and recognize him. It always goes back to that. So we have to confirm the invitation. And then we have to continue the work regardless of the setbacks. And we'll read some of those tomorrow with Esther about how she proceeded with caution. But she did it. And I put Philippians 4, 6, and 7 for that first, confirm the invitation. Then I also put in Philippians 2:12 for continuing your work and to work out your salvation in fear. That's not working for your salvation. It's working it out. What God is doing in you, you're going to work it out of you. And that word fear, or that phrase fear and trembling, is the Greek word tremos. And it's one of my favorite words in the Bible. It means to work like this work depends on somebody else, depends on God's abilities rather than yours. So I'm going to work so hard on this, and I am counting on your abilities, God, to do this, not mine. Just with deep reverence and respect. And then lastly, count on God to complete the work. He's going to complete it. He says, he who calls you is faithful. He will surely do it. He is going to complete the work in you. It may take time. It may be a short season. It may be a longer season. But he's going to complete the work. It may end the way you feel like it should end, and it may end the way he wants it to, which is not the way you want it to. But the point is, you heard him, you followed through with obedience, and you were part of that story, that part of the greater narrative of that God is writing on humanity and on the world right now. You're part of the story. Don't give up. You're part of the story. You're not the star of the story. I'm not the star of the story. We're just support cast for the star. The star is God. And we're the support cast in the story. So don't keep silent. In these moments, don't keep silent. We'll see you next time on Read Through the Word.